You are Locked On Wolverines, your daily podcast on the Michigan Wolverines, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Happy Wednesday. We are back and doing it. Locked On Wolverines podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. I am your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports Media Group. And yeah, there's still not a heck of a lot to talk about right now when it comes to Michigan. And I know there's people out there saying, oh, we've got so much to talk about. Like, we've covered pretty much everything except for NIL and recruiting. And we're going to kind of talk about that, not any specific players, because I haven't been a recruiting reporter, really, as many who have watched, listened, or read can attest of the last couple of years. That has not been in my wheelhouse. It's not been in my forte. It's a whole different thing to be able to do that with regularity. But I have some general thoughts. I still don't know what Michigan, and no one really does, right? No one's out there providing any like specific instance of here's what Michigan's missing aside from pay for play in recruiting in NIL. As a matter of fact, right now, like there was a graph that came out that showed Michigan is number 2 in NIL as far as players who are already in the program. So to me, maybe it's a marketing thing. Maybe it's just not being as upfront with some of the info as they could be. Right now, it's not exactly evident exactly what Michigan is missing. But that said, as far as recruiting and all of that's concerned, I'm not terribly concerned with what 2023, and I almost said 2018 because it's a little bit of a Freudian slip there, about the 2023 class as it stands. It's by the time that you listen to this or watch this, there are machinations that the class will be bigger. So there is that there will be another person in the class. I want to pull up the 2023 commitment list here to go over for a moment. But is it disappointing given what Michigan's been able to do? Because 2018 was coming off of a 9-4 season in 2017. Whereas Michigan's coming off of a 12-2 season and is currently 13-0. Yeah, it's disappointing, but clearly the landscape has changed. And we don't really have much specifics on what it is that's changed other than pay for play, which Michigan's clearly not going to do. But when it comes to this class, if everything holds with the players who are in the fold at the moment, Michigan is, according to 24/7 Sports proper, 19th in the country. According to the composite, it's 21st in the country. And certainly that's all going to change with a bevy of commitments between early signing day, a week from today, and national signing day in February. A lot of the big fish that Michigan wants are still out there. Nicholas Harbor, Malachi Coleman, who it's not a good sign that he canceled his official visit. But just to kind of go through what Michigan has, looking at the commitment list, 18 commitments as of the moment. Well, the highest rated commitment is the defensive lineman, defensive tackle in Inoeta. It seems quite solid to the class, 116th overall. Then you've got running back Cole Cabana at 168th overall. Then you've got offensive tackle Evan Link, 268. I mean, it falls off hard, right? So they have 6 4-stars committed at the moment, a lot of 3-stars. And while that is disappointing, and I've done this before multiple times whenever anyone's upset about recruiting, is I go through 2017 and 2018. 2017, if you remember, was hailed as one of the all-time great Michigan classes. Ranked 5th overall. Everyone was just fawning over it. Let's just go over that 2017 class for a moment. Donovan Peoples-Jones leads it, 5-star. Aubrey Solomon, 5-star. Aubrey was only around for 2 years. 1 year, 2 years, 1 year. Donovan Peoples-Jones did not play like a 5-star. He is right now in the NFL, but did not play like a 5-star. Played like a middling 4-star. No offense to Donovan. Cesar Ruiz lived up to his 4-star status. Luigi Villain didn't pan out here thanks to multiple injuries in high school. Drew Singleton ended up transferring to Rutgers quickly. Ambry Thomas lived up to his 4-star ranking. Jordan Anthony did nothing at Michigan. Transferred a few times. Chuck Villiaga did nothing at Michigan. Did really well for Minnesota this last year. Tariq Black, after his injury, outside of those first couple games, did next to nothing at Michigan. Dylan McCaffrey transferred out. Nico Collins lived up to his 4-star status. Oliver Martin did nothing at Michigan. Josh Ross lived up to his 4-star status. James Hudson transferred. Darren Irving Bay transferred. Jalen Kelly Powell transferred. Corey Malone Hatcher, medical disqualification. Amori Samuels, law problem / transfer. Donovan Jeter. There's, hard to get into that one, but wasn't quite the same after his injury. I can say that much. Jeraymon Hall transferred. Benjamin St. Juste transfer. Andrew Stuber was a 3-star. The first 3-star listed. Definitely played like a 4. Jamerick Woods transfer. Brad Hawkins, a 3-star, certainly played like a 4. Joel Honigford still on the team. I'd say he's an accurate 3-star. Philip Paya, just recently transferred, but didn't really do anything before it. Kwity Paye, 4th to last, as a 3-star. Best of the class. Ben Mason, 3-star, was very productive at Michigan. Kurt Taylor transferred. Brad Robbins still rocking it out as a 2-star. 2018. Let's go to it because this is very instructive, right? So Michigan had 7 4-stars and the rest were 3-stars. No 5-stars. Highest rated recruit, Aiden Hutchinson, 4-star, 112th overall. Obviously played like a 5-star. Was indispensable to the team. Cam McGrone, 4-star, played like a 4-star. Left early, probably could have stayed. Mustafa Muhammad, transfer. Miles Sims, transfer. Joe Milton, transfer. Jalen Mayfield played like a 4-star, got drafted early. Ryan Hayes was playing like a 4-star, and Michigan's benefited. Now the rest are 3-stars. Jamon Green, starter, playing like a 4-star. Christian Turner, transfer. Taylor Upshaw, 3-star, playing like a low 4-star, I would say at this point. Sammy Foston, medically disqualified. Ben Van Sumeren, transfer. Julius Welskoff, 3-star, accurate. Vincent Gray, 3-star, played his senior year like a 4-star. Michael Barrett, 3-star, playing like a 4-star. Luke Schoonmaker, 3-star, playing like a 4. Hassan Haskins, 3-star, who played like a 5-star. German Green, 3-star. We haven't really seen him outside of special teams. Ronnie Bell, 3-star, playing like a 4-star. He's had his 5-star moments. Jake Moody, who was unranked and has just been absolutely phenomenal. And then it has Andrew Russell, whose name I've never seen before. I don't know what that is. So, yeah, when I look at 2023, you got to feel good about the 4-stars they have. 2 offensive linemen in Evan Link and Amir Herring, a tight end in Deacon Tanielli, Etta, defensive tackle, Cole Cabana, who's really was a track guy, who's really gotten bigger and looks like an absolute beast, did really well this year. And then linebacker in Samaj Bridgman. Behind them, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that I think could be 4-star type players. Looking at interior lineman Nathan Nafobi, wide receiver Samaj Morgan, who's going to be practicing with the team according to EJ Holland at On 3. Cameron Calhoun, the Cincinnati, Ohio cornerback. Really like Jason Hewlett, athlete, linebacker, what have you, from Youngstown, Ohio. Zach Marshall is a tight end that has that type of frame and has been really good. Lots of big things from Brooks Barr, the Illinois-based defensive tackle. And then from there, we'll see. Kendrick Bell, can't count him out. He's in the Bell family. He's been phenomenal in high school. So if they can finish with some different guys, they can finish with, a Nicholas Harbor, whether they can get a Jair Hill, if they can get Malachi Coleman. And there's a couple others out there whose names I'm just not thinking of at the moment. We can look momentarily here, but they can be in a much better place. We'll just continue this conversation momentarily. But before we do, listen, if you're looking for the holidays to eat or give the gift of great food, there's no place better than Omaha Steaks. I love a great steak. I know most of you out there probably do too. I mean, heck, when we were at the Big Ten Championship for the second straight year, went to Prime 47, is that what it's called? In downtown Indianapolis, and I got me a dry-aged ribeye, bone in. It was amazing. You can get the same type of thing from Omaha Steaks. And guess what? This is insane. Omaha Steaks is just cut prices 50%. Site-wide. It will make you the best gift-giving hero that you've always wanted to be. The holidays are here, achieving gifting greatness when you give the gift of perfectly aged, tender, and delicious Omaha Steaks. Omaha Steaks have put together a delicious selection of various gift packages to make shopping for the ones you love nice and easy. Go to omahasteaks.com, take advantage of the 50% off site-wide. Plus, use the code LOCKEDON at checkout to get an astounding $40 off of your order. It's $40. 50% and $40. Can't beat that. Omaha Steaks has everything you need to give a gift that's simply perfect. Send an assortment of mouth-watering favorites like the delicious Butcher's Cut filet mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken, ultra-juicy burgers, and even easy-to-prepare comfort food meals that are ready in a flash. Don't wait. Order today and beat the shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a gift from the heart, a gift that will be remembered with every unforgettable bite. Order with complete confidence today, knowing that you're ordering the very best. Visit omahasteaks.com. Take advantage of the 50% off site-wide. Plus, use the promo code LOCKEDON for $40 off of your order. That's Locked On at checkout. Get extra $40 off of your order. The minimum order may be required. All right, if I was to bet, I would say this is going to be one of our shorter shows. Even though we're talking recruiting and all of that, NIL, like I said, I don't know. I mean, you have to have faith in Santa Ono, and he seems to be one of those types of presidents that's fully committed. I've told you the story, and I'll reiterate it here again, that when I was still a Michigan alum, guess what? I'm not wearing another school shirt, so y'all can stop bothering me about that. When I was a angry Michigan alum about the Shane Morris, Dave Brandon, Brady Hoke incident, met up with President Dr. Schlissel at a meet and greet through the Alumni Association. As first person to talk to him. He wanted nothing to talk about with that. He was like, you don't want to talk about academics? No, I don't. Guess what? No one here does either. He never understood that football is the front doorstep of the entire university. He didn't understand that. And he didn't understand that when we leave, a lot of us who went to the school, we care, we care about our degrees and we care about the academics, but we care just as much, if not more, about the football team, right? That's where it's at. So he didn't care. Santa Ono seems to really care. I mean, I'd never seen Schlissel at an away game, let alone a football game, period. I've never seen Schlissel at a football game. I've seen Santa Ono at like 6 of them, including the Big Ten Championship. Like, that should tell you exactly how into it he is, right? So he'll get that figured out. But as far as recruiting is concerned, I like a lot of what Michigan's doing. You can take a flyer on a class like this one, as long as you follow it up with a good one after that. And you better develop the heck out of those guys. They did a great job in 2018. I mean, listen to that hit and miss ratio on 2017 to 2018. It was way more hits in 2018 than 2017. And 2018 was rated, I got to switch back here. 2018 was and here, we got it all mixed up here, all bunched up here. 22nd in the country. So That should tell you a little something, right? So certainly there's some guys that can really elevate this, whether it's Nicholas Harbaugh, 16th rated player in the country. Michigan still feels like the team to beat. I know he had a really good visit to Maryland. Again, Michigan's got to be right up there. Track certainly is high up for him, but get him. Things change in a hurry. Malachi Coleman, certainly things aren't looking that great for him since he canceled the Michigan visit. And there's some others like Jair Hill, 194th overall. And if they're able to flip Aaron Gates, I'm doubting that's going to happen at this point. And those are your top guys that they are in a good position with. And then if they can get a surprise or two along the way, right, like they did last year, no one at this time, I'm not sure what day early signing day was. I think it was a little earlier this last year, but no one a week before early signing day was talking about Darius Clemens or Derek Moore, right? No one. So they have opportunities, right? Like, yes, we were talking about Amarian Walker, and are they going to be able to get him? We're talking about 2 years ago, talking about Donovan Edwards. My memory is lumping those together. They have opportunities that certainly there's probably a guy or two out there that we're not talking about that suddenly is going to be like, wow, how did they get that guy? Right? Maybe they end up pulling like out of nowhere. I'm not saying they will. I'm not even saying they're still recruiting him. Maybe they're able to pulling a Jagasha from Notre Dame, right? You don't know, right? It can happen out of nowhere. That's the wonderful thing about recruiting. But there are certainly opportunities there. And I like what Michigan's doing in the transfer portal. And that's the next part that I wanted to kind of get to is that they've had like a sniper-like approach. And I like that. If you can retain the talent you recruit and develop it, because, I mean, you when you're recruiting a guy, you already know hypothetically that they fit your vision. They already know what the culture is right away, and they know how to. They learn as they go along how to ingratiate themselves in the culture, and that's the good thing is that Michigan has finally reestablished the culture, and so then you have that aspect, and then they can matriculate through the program. And either they get better, they don't, or they stay, they're just a bit player or a scout team, whatever, or they really end up developing and being a player. And then you can go out and find your difference makers. Instead of building your entire program around transfers like we've seen, like Michigan State do, worked great for 1 year, but it is not sustainable as we saw this year. It's one of those things, if you can go and say, we want you, you're going to come in and you're going to win the Remington Award, which is something that I had predicted would probably happen with Olu, that he ends up doing it. Or you can go and find a guy who has all the talent in the world, needed something of a redemption story in Iabioki. I mean, that's exactly what you want. And you look at Ladarius Henderson, who they're bringing in from Arizona State. You watch just those few clips that are floating around, and he's out there being physical and pancaking guys and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, it's exactly what Michigan needs, right? It's the continuation of what they already have. And then they'll bring in a couple, guys here and there that, maybe they have a couple plays. Maybe they're just a depth player. Looking at Jordan Whitley from 2 years ago, looking at Cam Good this year, that haven't really seen a lot of them per se, but they are still, contributors to some degree. You go and get a guy or two like that. That's better to, it's like the NFL, right? It is better to take your talent that you already have, that you get through the draft and develop that, than it is to go out and build a team out of free agency. That is true in the NFL. It's just as true in college. You build your team off of free agents. Yeah, it could have a 1 year great effect. The problem is, unlike in the NFL, you might go and get a Kenneth Walker Jr. or Kenneth Walker III rather, you only got him for 1 year, right? Michigan goes out and gets Olu. They have him for 1 year, and then he's gone, right? You have 1 year rentals because everyone's got to move on at some point in the college ranks. So I think that Michigan's doing it the right way. All right, I'm going to continue on with just a couple thoughts that I shared on SiriusXM earlier today. We talked about Jim Harbaugh and about the fan base and how it feels in regards to Jim Harbaugh. I want to just kind of reiterate some of the things that I said there. But before we do, BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and World Cup. We've got it all on BetOnline.net. If you love sports, you can even find those at sports podcasts. You can find those at BetOnline as well. We are always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, a couple quick thoughts. Before I get into the Jim Harbaugh thing, actually, as I was saying that, I was thinking my comments on JJ were a little bit more profound, I think. But we'll just do a little bit of both. I think I mentioned the JJ thoughts that I had on the podcast last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever anyway. But I think the interesting thing about JJ is that he seems to be playing better in bigger games. I like what Scott Bell wrote about JJ is that after the Ohio State game, if you play the way that he did and you get a win like that on the road, that changes things, right? That changes your confidence, that opens things up, that certainly like you can suddenly, you can do things at the college level when you go out and beat the number 2 team in the country the way he did, throwing 3 touchdowns and running for another. That certainly will give you a bona fide attitude adjustment. But he's really played his best football, not by completion percentage, but by the actual big throws he's made in the last 2 games. And that is huge. As for Jim Harbaugh, I think the thing that's interesting and that they asked me was, just 2 years ago, people were ready to run him out of town. And certainly it wasn't, I don't even think it was necessarily a majority of Michigan fans, but it was certainly a large subset. And they asked, how do they feel about him, now? I mean, I was asked by Jacob Hester. He's like, we were doing really good. I played for Les Miles, but, at the same time, there were some people, even when we were doing really good, that were ready to get rid of him. My answer there is, as long as he beats Ohio State and wins the Big Ten, there is no one that is going to want to get rid of him, right? I mean, especially if you beat Ohio State and Michigan State in the same season. But even then, you beat Ohio State, no one remembers that Michigan State game anymore. The Michigan State game isn't something that people are going to go back and rewatch. I don't think. I can't imagine. But the Ohio State game is one. If you get those big types of wins, even if your record is as it is, 2-5 against Ohio State fans can come out and say all they want, and they say it all the time. He's 2-5, not worried. Well, you should be, because against Ryan Day, he's 2-1. Against your current head coach, Urban Meyer isn't around anymore. And you can sit there and make that strictly a Jim Harbaugh problem, but maybe it was also an Urban Meyer was really good coach issue, right? And now he's not around. And you're only as good as your most recent seasons, and Jim Harbaugh has been phenomenal when it comes to that. So I can't envision anyone wants to see him go at this point. I think that the good thing is that this team finally looks like what I think everyone expected it to look like. No one expected it to be an air raid, and then 2019 kind of suddenly made us think, okay, maybe it will be. But everyone expected it to be a physical team up front, that they were going to be very creative while running power type schemes, running pro football schemes, and would be able to run the ball at will and be physical on the other side in the defensive trenches. And that's exactly what Michigan is. And I think it's crazy that people still aren't on board, because you look at what Georgia did last year, and you're staring down the barrel of a potential Georgia-Michigan national championship game. if that happens, I mean, that I would imagine more teams are going to try to emulate, right? Because the high-flying offenses of TCU and Ohio State, if they get shut down and get beaten by tough-nosed defenses that have more traditional offenses, I mean, they're not actually traditional offenses, but it's what we think of as traditional offenses, then suddenly we'll see what happens, you know. All right, that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow is the mailbag. Get your questions in on Twitter. It'll probably be, I'm guessing there's a strong possibility that it is like a midnight release because we got media availability, and then I have family plans at like 6:45 until like 11 o'clock. So we might be really late on the mailbag. But get your questions in. And then Friday, we'll probably talk about that media availability and or the next one that we're going to have. Yeah, that will do it. Thanks for watching and or listening. We will talk to you soon. Peace.